almost tweeted out, Dave, how much are you down right now and today? 7 million. I'm down $7 million in stocks and crypto. I went super viral when I said I lost $7 million. I'd kill to be back to losing $7 million. I haven't even looked. If I had to guess, I'm down in these last 3 days, probably close to 20. I don't know, like 10, 15% of my net worth, poof. But I'm still here. That's the game. That's what I'm in. Like, do I like it? No.
We're officially in the FAFO stage. From Barstool's Dave Portnoy to kick streamer Aiden Ross, these men are losing millions because of the man they courted and endorsed.
Like Clay Travis, Will Kane. They're like, don't look at your 401k. Since when do people care about the stock market? That's bullshit. That's fucking bullshit. Let's be honest. And I prefer Trump, and he says it sometimes. He's been like, I don't want things to go down. I would rather people on the right who support Trump, no matter what he does, what he says. Like, when you say stuff like that, to me, it's like, well, Trump could fucking cut someone's head off. You're like, well, did he really? Like, let's call a spade a spade. Everybody has the right to panic and party and be worried about the stock market, their 401k, their portfolio. Don't suddenly be like, oh, don't look at your portfolio. Don't worry about it. Bullshit. Everybody looks at their portfolio. Everyone looks at their stock market. Everybody looks at how much money is in the bank. So it's a big deal.
One name he left out.
Losing money costs you nothing. This is just the reality of life. Were you young and dumb? How much money did you lose? Everyone loses money. Everyone loses money. It costs you nothing. In fact, it builds quite a bit of character. In fact, you learn a lot of lessons, actually, by losing money.
TPUSA guy, a man who allegedly took boatloads of money from Russian media, a complete grifter in every way of the word, Benny Johnson.
It's bloody Black Monday. Holy moly. The Kamala crash is here.
Kamala needs to get in front of a camera today. People are losing their homes today. People are losing their fortunes today. People are losing their futures today. People are losing their 401ks today. This is shaping up to be one of the worst market days in American history.
Who shows why mass media is just so broken as he peddles in this BS to the tune of nearly 3 million subscribers on YouTube.
What an amazing way to look at this. Don't worry about losing money. It's actually building your character, and it doesn't cost you anything, except for the money part. I guess it does cost that. Now, I was so taken aback by I've never seen anybody try something like this. So I thought, well, at least he's ideologically consistent. He probably says this every time the stock market crashes, right? Like when it crashed under Biden or Harris, that he said the same thing, right? So I guess when the other side, they lose you money, it's terrible. People need to speak up now. When it's your guy that you shill for, all of a sudden it's, hey, this builds character. Have you really even lost money when you lost money?
Hey guys, quick break in the action. I have a new show coming out called The Rick Strom Show. It is going to be awesome. I'm interviewing musicians, athletes, producers, writers, journalists, authors, sports doctors. Go check it out at youtube.com/@TheRickStromShow. Also be sure to throw me a follow on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. It can all be found in the description box below. Thank you. There would be many reactions. First,
Do I wish maybe he was treating our friends a little nicer, our allies, and things like that? Yeah, because I'm in the stock market. But at the same time, this is who I voted for, and time is going to bear it out. He's playing an extremely high-risk game of poker. And if it turns out great, it'll be a great move and one of the great things that he's done. If not, I think the voters will speak at midterms.
CNN had Portnoy on.
He was pretty straightforward that I'm terrorist. I don't like China. I'm going to do all this stuff. He's doing what he ran on. So to turn around just because we've had 3 or 4 bad days in the stock market, super uncomfortable. My bigger thing at this point is let's not pretend it's not a major issue. Like it is. And you can't separate. I don't think I saw the Treasury Secretary Bassett today, like separating Main Street and Wall Street.
Yes, he did.
They're pretty connected. Yeah, they're pretty connected in my book. And in a way, it's disingenuous now to be like, hey, what are you doing with these tariffs? Because he did make it pretty clear he was a tariff guy. If we drop 5% every day from here to the midterms, no, I can't stomach that. Nobody's going to stomach that. If this flattens out and we don't have gigantic drops and it doesn't keep dropping to that effect, yes, I can handle that for a long time.
To be clear, it's because he's a mega millionaire and you are not. That's why this commentary is just so terribly flawed.
Could you see yourself supporting Democrats?
Yeah, absolutely. One thing about me, which drives me crazy, I vote for Trump. I support him. I was never like some crazy MAGA guy.
That's wrong. Completely and utterly wrong. And it feels like he's trying to play cleanup. Another angle.
Given what the government's been doing and this administration's been doing, it would not shock me, and I hate to speculate, if we were to find out that a whole bunch of people who work in Washington as our elected leaders, one way or the other, ultimately sold stocks last week, or potentially worse than that, shorted the market.
Not everybody's losing money, though, because apparently, according to a new report, there is at least one person, a sitting member of Congress, actually, who somehow, some way had the foresight to know that the market's going to crash soon. So just days before Donald Trump's so-called Liberation Day, where he put all the tariffs in place against the penguins and the seals, this individual decided to pull hundreds of thousands of dollars out of the stock market and then reinvest it into low yield but very low risk treasury bills. You know, because they didn't want to lose all their money when the stock market was going to crash. And that individual is none other than Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Per a recent congressional trade report, Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene purchased Amazon and Apple stocks on April 3rd and 4th. Each purchase valued somewhere between $1,000 and $15,000. In addition to Amazon and Apple, she bought shares in Berkshire Hathaway, Caterpillar, Dell, and FedEx. After Spencer Hakimi tweeted, NASDAQ call volume spiked minutes before the 90-day tariff pause was announced. Not a good look at all, where he displays the accompanying graph you see on your screens. New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez tweeted, any member of Congress who purchased stocks in the last 48 hours should probably disclose that now. I've been hearing some interesting chatter on the floor. Disclosure deadline, May 15th. We're about to learn a few things. It's time to ban insider trading from Congress.
I'm very curious as to some of the discussions that were happening at the NRCC dinner, the Trump speech the night before this tariff announcement. I'm very interested in the May 15th disclosure deadline for members of Congress and what members of Congress, Republican or Democrat, were trading the day before and the morning of the tariff announcement. And I'm very interested in tracking some of the communications and who was communicating with whom in the 48 hours preceding the announcement.
What should the next step be, do you think?
Pardon?
What should the next step be, do you think?
Well, there are a couple of next steps. The most obvious and clear next step, I believe, is moving to the floor the insider trading ban for members of Congress. Now, of course, that is challenging to do when many of the people who would be subject to that bill will be voting on it. Personally, I think anyone who is actively engaged in trading individual stocks should not vote on those bills at all. I believe that they have a conflict of interest.
Another gross moment on behalf of this current administration.
This is Charles Schwab. It's not just a company, it's actually an individual. And he made $2.5 billion today, and he made $900 million. That's not bad. He's in financials. I've always been following.
A really eyebrow-raising message came from one senator, Connecticut's Chris Murphy, who wrote this. Good morning. Today is the 80th day that the U.S. president is running a backdoor bribery scheme in which any CEO or foreign oligarch can send him money secretly through his crypto coin scam in exchange for favors. It's the biggest scandal in the history of the presidency.
So I have questions about the tariff announcements today. Who benefited and who made money? And this should matter to you too, because this could be an enormous scam. What we know is that about 9:30 today, Trump posts on social media that people should buy. It's a good time to buy. And then 3 hours later, guess what? He announces that there's going to be a 90-day suspension of many of the tariffs. Predictably, the market, which had been crashing, shoots up, and anyone who made investments early today likely made a lot of money. And so the question is, who close to Trump knew that he was going to suspend the tariffs? Which of his Mar-a-Lago friends or his billionaire advisors were able to capitalize on that inside information? Why did Trump send out that post to his supporters earlier in the day? The bottom line is that the chaotic nature of this tariff policy, with Trump's position changing every single hour, gives ample opportunity for any individual who has early access to information about the White House's change in position to make boatloads of money, either by investing at the right time or pulling their money out of the market at the right time. This entire White House is one giant grift. Donald Trump and his friends are in power in order to use their access to government to make money. It stinks.
And then there's this from Quiver Quantitative. Nancy Pelosi made over $10 million in the stock market per their estimates. Another, Greg Landsman, a Democrat from Ohio, disclosed over 40 stock trades. They were all sales. Would write Quiver Quantitative. Then there's Tommy Tuberville, senator from Alabama. Look, the list goes on and on and on. This should be a bipartisan issue. The problem is, no matter the political party, it clearly shows direct conflicts of interest. If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.